Both these houses used 20,000 litres of water last month. The one on the left paid 200 rupees for it. The one on the right paid 2,000. How come? Because we're not paying for water, we're paying for the transport of water. A typical 4-person house uses 20,000 litres of water a month. 20,000 litres of Kaveri water costs about 200 rupees. 20,000 litres of tanker water costs 2,000. And if you have a well or a borewell at home, then you can take how much ever water you want without paying anyone for it. The difference between basic and premium petrol is about 10%. There's barely any difference between the monthly plans of Vodafone and Airtel. So why is there so much variation in the cost of water in Bangalore? How much should water actually cost? Bangalore's population is roughly 1.5 crores today. Each of these people use about 100 litres of water for their cooking, cleaning and laundry. That means that for just domestic use, Bangalore needs about 1,500 million litres of water every day. Where do we get this water from? Historically, the main source of water in Bangalore was groundwater. People would take water to use in their homes from either private or public wells. As the population started to increase, and especially after a severe drought in the late 1800s, Bangalore started to get water in pipes from outside the city. It is estimated that right now Bangalore takes 600 million litres of water every day from the ground under it. This groundwater is stored in something called an aquifer. But what is an aquifer?
So an easy way to understand what an aquifer is to imagine it as a large sponge below our feet. So that sponge can hold water, it can absorb water from the rain which comes in from the top, hold on to it, allow it to move, and when we put in a straw into the sponge, like for example a well or a bore well, we are able to also draw water from the sponge. So the aquifer is a great big sponge below our feet.
We can take out water from this sponge using either wells or bore wells. Most of the groundwater being used in Bangalore today comes from bore wells. Water from bore wells can reach you in a few different ways. In case of a private bore well, it goes via pipes directly to the overhead tank of your home or apartment. In case of a community bore well, it may first be carried to a larger shared overhead tank and from there be distributed via underground pipes. But laying underground pipes is expensive and tedious, especially across larger areas. So one of the popular ways to move borewell water is by water tankers. Tankers take water from privately owned borewells and bring it to your home. Groundwater use is fairly unregulated in Bangalore. Nobody knows exactly how many borewells we have in our city, where they are distributed, or how fast we are depleting them. On the water bill, you have to pay an additional 150 rupees if your borewell is registered, but there are many unregistered ones. More importantly, registered or not, users currently don't pay for the amount of water used. For 20,000 litres or for 200,000 litres, BWSSB charges the same 150 rupees as borewell service charge. We don't have enough groundwater to support our entire population. And if overexploited, it can dry out very quickly. So we take most of our water from outside the city. Today, Bangalore gets 900 million litres a day of water from the Kaveri. This is facilitated by the BWSSB. The BWSSB is an agency owned by the Karnataka government, and their main responsibility is to supply everyone in Bangalore with clean, affordable water. The journey of this water starts with rain. Not rain here in Bangalore, but rain that's falling 300 kilometers away in the Western Ghats. When it rains in Wayanad and Kodagu, the water gets collected in the Kabini and KRS dams, dams built on the Kaveri river. Water from these dams is released periodically and flows towards the east. A little downstream of the KRS, at a place called Shiva Anikat, some of the water is directed away from the river Kaveri into a canal system. Via canals, the water reaches TK Halli, where it is cleaned, filtered and chlorinated. TK Halli is about 100 kilometers south and nearly 300 meters lower in altitude than the city of Bangalore. BWSSB spends a lot of their money on just the electricity and maintenance required to move millions of liters of water daily from TK Halli all the way to Bangalore. The main Kaveri pipeline from TK Halli ends in Jayanagar at a reservoir near Rose Gardens. From Jayanagar, this Kaveri water is pumped to various ground level reservoirs across the city. This is the ground level reservoir at Suranjan Das Road. That's 5 million liters of water that is supplied to Tippasandra, Indranagar, Michael Palya and more. Underground pipes brought water to this reservoir from Jayanagar. Underground pipes will take it to overhead tanks, and then in underground pipes it comes to your house. This is a rather expensive journey. It costs the BWSSB nearly 15 crore rupees each day for the electricity, maintenance and manpower needed to move water all the way to Bangalore. This infrastructure is also now quite old and parts of it are difficult to maintain. The BWSSB actually sends 1,450 million liters of water from TK Halli, but only 900 million liters actually reach Bangalore. The cost of water for a home in Bangalore can vary largely. For a private borewell, after the borewell has been dug, it's basically free water forever. But tankers are super expensive, and homes that depend entirely on tankers can pay up to 4,000 rupees per month for water, 10 times as much as Kaveri water. Most homes in Bangalore meet their daily water needs with a combination of Kaveri and groundwater. For homes in the city centre, more water comes from the Kaveri. For homes in the periphery, a majority is sourced from the ground. People that have a reliable source or sources of water tend to pay very little for it. People that can't access water easily end up paying a lot more. Bangalore is lucky to have a surplus of water as a resource, but is currently not able to manage it efficiently. The BWSSB is working towards increasing their capacity to bring more water to Bangalore. They are also trying to reduce their leakages significantly by 2030 and are actively investing in extending their network. Parallelly, however, Bangalore city continues to grow in population and area. Laying pipes is expensive and takes time. So the faster we grow as a city, the harder it becomes for services to reach us. Speaking of expensive but essential services, the second S in BWSSB stands for sewerage. 1.5 crore people use a minimum of 100 liters of water a day, and so they also generate 1500 million liters of sewage every day. Today, 75% of this gets into our official sewer system and travels via massive underground sewers to sewage treatment plants. Here, the water is treated and in the best case scenario makes useful byproducts, fertilizers and treated water. This treated water is let into our lakes and rivers. Jakkur Lake is one of the finest examples of this, and since its rejuvenation in 2010, powered by treated wastewater, it has become home to a fantastic ecosystem of birds, plants and reptiles. This scene from Planet Earth 3 was shot at our very own Jakkur Lake. Bangalore also runs a massive wastewater transfer program. We send millions of liters of treated water every day to lakes in Kolar and Chikballapur, from where this water is used for irrigation. Kolar and Chikballapur are drought-prone areas with low water tables, and also the source of a majority of grains and vegetables consumed by our city. Not all the water from Bangalore is getting treated properly though. 25% of wastewater doesn't reach an STP at all. It is being led directly into our lakes and rivers. Pollutants from Bangalore enter lakes and rivers and streams, and then eventually the food chain. It is going to take some time for the BWSSB to fix this, and there's an important reason this can't happen sooner. But before that, so this video series is called Bangalore 2050, but so far we've not really spoken about the future. The thing is, before we can talk about the future, I think it is important to understand the present. Prior to making this video, I had no idea what the BWSSB did. I only heard of them when somebody was digging a road. I also had a few misconceptions about water supply in Bangalore. I really thought that we were going to run out of water. Clearly though, this is not a problem. We have a surplus of water. We need to figure out how to get better at distributing it. So what can we do about distribution? How do we reduce our reliance on groundwater, and how do we make sure everyone can get a reliable Kaveri connection?
What is happening is that every household which takes 20,000 liters of water gets a subsidy of 1,600 rupees to 1,650 rupees a month. We are not paying the true cost of water. Yes, water is a human right, so therefore it should be given to all at affordable prices. And the lifeline water should actually be free. But beyond that, it should be charged so that we recover the monies for the water to be able to invest in these infrastructure. Because the rich are now subsidized, the poor do not have access to water. For example, the BWSSB does not tell us that it costs them 95 rupees to get a kiloliter of water to the city. It does not tell us that you're getting water at a domestic connection at 7 rupees a kiloliter, that you're getting subsidized water, whatever water you get. The consequences of that are also that the BWSSB is broke and therefore cannot extend services. The BWSSB should be telling us that as citizens. See, even now the BWSSB becomes very reluctant to take in new areas. They say it is a problem. That's not the attitude an institution should have. The institution should say that I will be able to cater to every citizen of whatever is the description of Bangalore. But the reluctance comes from the fact that it is completely hamstrung in terms of finances and human resources. The people who work there are killing themselves. They have 12 to 14 hours of duty. Nobody understands the pressure that they are functioning on. Easy to blame the manholes overflowing or leaking sewage lines, but the root cause is never understood. Why is that manhole leaking? Where is the money to keep all the infrastructure repaired, expanded, new, replaced? Where is the money going to come from? We must debate the true price for water. We must say what does it take to get the water to us, but also what does it take to collect the water and treat it so that it doesn't pollute the environment. And we must be willing to pay the true cost for water. If we pay the true price for water, and if we build our institution, which is the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board, to be a bit more holistic, in the sense they could be made in charge of groundwater, they could have some role to play in surface water, and definitely they should imagine the wastewater, treated wastewater to be reused. If their capacities are built, then this city will have no problem for water till 2050.
We have a bunch of smaller wells which send water to this big motherfucker here.